Soft. Take it away. Take it away. Okay, we'll chant in unison. The Sri Brahma Samhita prayers, you all have, many of you have sheets. If you don't have the sheet, it's on the screen. And I chant swiftly, so chant at my cadence, not yours. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vratesa Surabi Amipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Venum Kanvantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamani Mashesha Yogam Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Alola Chandrakala Sadvanamalya Vankshi Ratnangadam Panayakena Kanavilasam Shamam Tribangadalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalinneya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sat Ujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Advaitam Achutimanani Manantarupam Adyam Puranam Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedesha Durlabam Adurlabam Almabhakta Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Pantastu Kota Shatran Satana Sampragamyo Vayo Ratapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Yo Yaksya Sincha Vichincha Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Ekopya Saurachayatam Jagadanda Kotin Yachakti Rasti Jagadanda Chayaya Dantaha Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Yat Bhava Bhavatari Yomana Justa Taiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasha Nayana Bhushaha Tayameva Nigamaka Tataistavanti Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasapati Bhavitavis Tabirya Eva Nijarupa Tayatalabihi Goloka Eva Nivisanya Kilapa Bhoto Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochane Santak Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundarama Chinchakana Sarupam Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Ramadi Murta Shakalani Amena Tishtan Nanavatara Makarod Bhuvaneshu Kinto Krishna Swayam Samabhavak Paramak Pamanyo Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Koti Vishesha Vasadani Vibhoti Vinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalamanantam Ashesha Bhotam Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Maya Hiyasya Jagadanda Shatani Sute Trigunya Tanpashaya Veda Vitaya Mana Sadbhavalambi Parasattvam Vishuddha Sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasamataya Manavsu Yat Praninam Paniparam Marutamapetya Lila Yatena Bhavanani Jagat Yajasram Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Golokanani Nijatamni Tanesha Tasya Devi Maheshu Haridama Sukheshu Teshu Te Prabhava Nijayami Tasyayena Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Shristi Sthiti Pranayasa Shaktireka Chaye Vayasha Bhuvanani Viparti Durga Ichchanurupa Apiyash Taste Tesa Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Kshiram Yatadhi Vikara Shesha Yoga Sanjayate Nihita Takratagasti Hito Devaho Yaksam Bhutam Apitata Samupaiti Karyad Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Deepanarchir Eva Hidashontanam Abhyupetya Deepaya Teva Vrita Hetu Samana Dharma Yastadrak Eva Hita Vishnutaya Vivati Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatkaranarna Vajali Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidramananta Jagadanda Saroma Pupa Adara Shakti Vapalamya Param Smurti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasyaika Nishvasita Kalamatavanambya Jivanti Noma Vinaja Jagadanda Nata Vishnur Mahansiha Yasya Kalabhisheshno Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Basvanyataksma Sakaneshu Najesha Tejaha Sviyam Kiyat Kapikayata Vidanta Brahmaya Esha Jagadanda Vidana Karta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatpada Pallava Yugam Viditaya Kumbha Dvanvekanama Samayesa Gadadi Raja Viham Vihantam Adapasya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Agnir Mahi Ampaparodishascha Kalas Tataramanasita Jagatrayani Yasmat Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yancha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yachchakshir Isa Savita Sakalagrahanam Raja Samastu Sarmurti Rashesha Tejaha Yasyagya Pramati Samritakala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Dharmo Dapapa Nichaya Shutayastapamsi Brahma Nikita Pataka Padayasta Jivaha Yadha Prakata Prabhava Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yastvindra Gopa Mata Vikrama Karma Bandhana Rupa Palabhajanam Ajanoti Karma Nirna Hitakintu Shabakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Viti Vatsalya Mahol Gora Gora Vasevya Bhavai Sanchintya Tasha Sadashim Tanam Aparete Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Vijna Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataramo Drama Bhumis Chintamani Ganama Itoyam Amritam Gata Ganam Natyam Ganapam Api Bangshi Priyasaki Chiranandam Jyoti Paramapita Aspadhyam Apicha Satyat Prakshirapi Sravati Surabi Vyasya Sumahan Nivesha Yapyova Vrajati Nahi Yatrapi Samaya Bhaje Shveta Dvipam Tamahamiha Govoka Vidyam Vidantaste Shantashati Virala Ragati Praye Ishvara Parama Krishnam Sachitananda Vigraha Those of you that are not used to chanting Brahma Samhita, it's a nice experience. Transcendental sound vibration. The head of our sampradaya, Lord Brahma, glorifying Govinda. We heard yesterday the name Govinda was given by Surabhi during the Govardhan Lila. She gave him the name. So we like that. That's a nice name. And a little unusual is having one of the main retreat being part of what we're doing here along the initiation yoga, kind of fusing two things together. I think that's okay though. And The topic that I wanted to speak about is the mystery of Lila Shakti. And they explain why that title. I was noticing, particularly going through commentaries of our acharyas of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Not always, almost always, very consistently, our acharyas use the word Lila Shakti. And I took note of it because, at least in our ISKCON vernacular, we would hear Yogamaya. But our acharyas, at least in their commentary, it's translated Lila Shakti because that's the word they use, Lila Shakti. So what's the relationship between Yogamaya and Lila Shakti? So guess what? I went to Garuda, and boy, he laid it on. He said, I'll send you, for your eyes only, 7 pages from my not yet published book on the whole chapters of Yogamaya. It was good. And we discussed more than what Yogamaya is. That was a little bit what Yogamaya is. Yogamaya is an internal or Swarup Shakti feature of the personality of Godhead. And what does Yogamaya do? That this whole chapter is what does Yogamaya do? This is repeating in simple language what Garuda writes in his book. Yoga means linking or bringing together, and Maya is Krishna's energy. So it's a general term. Maya we know as illusion, but it means a broader sense is energy. The energy that brings persons together, brings Krishna and others than Krishna, his devotees and those who aren't his devotees. And it's a feature of Krishna, Yogamaya. So if I understood Sri Rupa's question yesterday, where's Sri Rupa? There she is, okay. Garuda was using the word Shakti, but Shakti isn't just like electricity or, it's an energy. It is an energy, but energy has form. And Yogamaya has form. And the Krishna, as he's energetic, not just, an existence, he exists, but he has form. So energy also from the source has form. So Yogamaya was, the Krishna's appearance. Krishna summoned Yogamaya, and Yogamaya immediately, yes, some service. So he gave her 3 services. Then she's a person. So she did the 3 services, and then she did the next service, which was she became known in the world by another name. So he has a reflection of Yogamaya is Mahamaya. It's just a reflection of Abhas, shadow, reflection. So Mahamaya also has a name, Durga, and different names. So persons may worship Durga or different names in different parts of India, but they're worshiping a shadow of Krishna's Yogamaya. And then there's Yogamaya. And so the relationship between Yogamaya allows the inconceivable to happen. bringing things together and appearing, although they're together, appearing they're not together. People can't see Krishna because of Yogamaya. Like the example of, we'll hear a little bit later this morning, when Balaram, during the 1 year that Krishna had manifested the cowherd boys and the calves, Balaram was covered by Yogamaya, Krishna's Yogamaya, so that he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what was going on. But he's omniscient, so how can he not know what's going on? Yogamaya, oh come on you guys, whitewash with Yogamaya, please. What's going on? It's a potency of Krishna by which his will is fulfilled. And in this particular pastime, we're going to hear how Krishna's will was not fulfilled by Yogamaya to fulfill a desire. Do that again, please. Sometimes, I'm disclosing what's the coming attractions, but sometimes the personality of Godhead doesn't know what's going on when he's omniscient. Sometimes he who doesn't have to do anything, he just has such a sankalpa shakti, he just has a desire, or ichha shakti, he just desires, and it happens. He doesn't have to lift his left hand for 7 days. He can just, levitate and go over downhill, or he doesn't even have to do that. Just like, so, but by Yogamaya he performs a pastime, and there's also a pastime by which he wants something to happen or to not happen, and it happens anyways. And Krishna is going to marvel at, wow. Because Yogamaya understood Krishna's desire, and although his desire was the cowherd boys, you see that little icon in the right corner, that's the demon Aghasura. Krishna's going to subdue the python Aghasura. But the cowherd boys entered into the mouth of Aghasura thinking, he may be a python, but Krishna's always saved us, so let's go. And off they went. And before they went, Krishna was desiring. It's not just a toy, it's not just a statue and they're playing with the statue here in the forest. It's a python, he wants to kill them, he wants to kill me. He didn't say it, but he was desiring they not enter, and they entered. And then Krishna's going to marvel. Wow. Lila Shakti. My Lila Shakti. Bless her heart. Anyway, so even Balaram and Krishna become bewildered by Krishna's Yogamaya, which is very bewildered. How is it possible? It means Yogamaya is above him, right? No, she understands a desire that he has, a pastime desire. So the relationship between Lila Shakti and Yogamaya, this is, we did some back and forth, and this was the fine editing. Lila Shakti is a potency, Shakti, or energy, derived from Yogamaya. The verb is important, derived from. She's a part of, say, a subset or an energy of or derived from Yogamaya. So it's Yogamaya. So in one sense it's synonymous. Lila Shakti and Yogamaya are synonymous. Yet there's a specific function, and thus our acharyas use Yogamaya, and Prabhupada was keeping, more generic, and Yogamaya, said Lila Shakti. So, Lila Shakti is a potency or energy derived from Yogamaya, whose function is Yogamaya's function, or Lila Shakti's function. Carry out Yogamaya's intentions, such as facilitating various activities of the Supreme Person, facilitating arrangements for loving relationships, loving exchanges between Krishna and the beloveds. Guess whose language that one is? You know. But it's not just his beloveds, it's anybody, his devotees, and relationships with Kamsa and everybody and everything, the birds and the flowers and the cows, relationships, Yogamaya. So that is, in the Swarup Shakti, or the spiritual potency, there's no material potency, there's no shadow, there's no illusion, there's no mistakes, there's no defects. It's the spiritual potency all the way, 100%. For example, here's a Yogamaya example or a Lila Shakti example. You all recognize who this lady is. That's Putana, the first demon Krishna killed. And she assumed a form like the goddess of fortune, so beautiful. She was ugly. She was a Rakshasi. She was a child-eating, yummy delight. And she was sent by Kamsa to find where is Krishna and to kill him. So she devised a plan, and she didn't work. She was killed instead. So her body, when Krishna sucked out her life air, her body enlarged several miles long, and he was playing on her chest like the painting shows. And the people of the village, the little people down in the lower right corner, they saw the scene. They were fear-stricken because this little 3-month-old child on the body of this gigantic witch. But it's all Yogamaya. Pastime. Not what Putana did, but what Krishna did. It's Yogamaya. Or, a little bit later, Krishna's with his cowherd boyfriends, including Balaram in the background, and they pulled a prank on Krishna. They told Mother Yasoda he's eating dirt, the pastime. And mothers are concerned if they hear their child is eating dirt, and Krishna said, no, it's not true. He says, it's got to be true because even your brother said it's not true, they're liars. And if you don't believe me, you can look inside my mouth to see if I've eaten dirt. But he opened your mouth. And when she looked inside his mouth, Yogamaya. There's no limit to the unlimited. So the painting is nicely depicting what she saw, the entire cosmic manifestation inside Krishna's mouth. Now, how can you see the entire cosmic manifestation inside a small child's mouth? But this is our inexplicable Achintya Shakti of the personality of Godhead, no problem. The whole universe inside his mouth. And not only she saw the whole universe, she saw herself looking inside Krishna's mouth, That was good. Yogamaya, or Lila Shakti. And then all of his pastimes, you name it, any activities that Krishna did, conducted by Lila Shakti. And I'm just using this term Lila Shakti because that's what our predecessor acharyas used, although Prabhupada would often almost consistently is Yogamaya. So the pastime of Mother Yasoda being unable to find Krishna. He was naughty. He had stolen butter. And she wanted to teach her son, when you grow up, you can't steal. So she wanted to reprimand him and teach him a lesson. So tie him up to the grinding mortar. You know the pastime. The rope wouldn't go around, the rope wouldn't go around, the rope wouldn't go around. She got hundreds of feet of rope. And it wouldn't go around. And she's marveling. His fist, his waist is the size of my fist. And I have hundreds of feet of rope in it. Still always 2 inches. It doesn't go around, and it's still always the same 2 inches. It doesn't go around. She was bewildered, Yogamaya. And then Krishna made it possible for the rope to go around. So the impossible becomes possible. And there was partly a plan so that the rope could go around as he could pull over these twin Arjuna trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj when Mother Yasoda was looking. And then they did 2 trees. Nalakuvara and Manigriva came out of the 2 trees. They heard the crashing of these 2 trees in the courtyard. It's Yogamaya, or Lila Shakti. The energy generated by Yogamaya to facilitate Krishna's pastimes, or another very wonderful one. This is Lord Brahma, the first created being and creator of the universe. Try to build the universe sometime. The whole universe. Try to build anything. But the whole universe. All of its details and details and details and details. And he came before Krishna having offended Krishna, which is part of the pastime that we'll be discussing this morning. It's Yogamaya, or Lila Shakti. Beautiful, beautiful prayers. You know, the audacity of Lord Brahma to steal the calves and cow boys, just to check it out and see what Krishna's going to do when the calves and cow boys are gone. You don't mess with Krishna, but so he got a lesson, but the lesson we'll hear as we go this morning. And now, that's the relationship between the main lesson, one of the main lessons, is the relationship between Lila Shakti and Yogamaya, and facilitating loving exchanges and facilitating Krishna's pastimes. And with Krishna's energies are always with him, just like Radharani is always with Krishna. So his Swarup Shakti means it's his own Swarupa Shakti, his own potencies. They're always with him. And they're facilitating, when he comes into this world, pastimes. So nourish loving exchanges, or facilitate loving exchanges with his devotees, like this with Lord Brahma. So the focus is going to be on the pastime of Aghasura, and part of the reason, because the question was asked, why did you select this? I became fascinated with how consistently Lila Shakti, Lila Shakti, Lila Shakti. So you'll hear in the commentaries the term used again and again. You know, like, what's going on? Why this emphasis? And another reason is this Lila Shakti arranged for Krishna to not be able to fulfill what he wanted. It's like a boomerang, you know, just throw it and come back, hit your head. So here's Rupa Goswami. Yesterday evening, we heard this nice Stava Mala description of Govardhan Hill. Here's a little description of same Stava Mala by Rupa Goswami, mentioning the Aghasura pastime. Let's see if the sound system works. Okay, one fix it. It's not working. Which one? Speaker? Okay. Here we go again.
दुष्करं शिवतो मे प्राचीनानां भजनमतुलं दुष्करं शिवतो मे नैर्यासेन ज्वलति हृदयं भक्तिरेषादसस्य नैर्यासेन ज्वलति हृदयं भक्तिलेशालसस्य विश्वदृशीम् अदहर तवाकर्ण्यकारुण्यवीची विश्वदृशीम् अदहर तवाकर्ण्यकारुण्यवीची आशाबिन्दुक्षितमिदम् उपेयन्तरेहन्तशैत्यम् आशाबिन्दुक्षितमिदम् उपेयन्तरेहन्तशैत्यम्.
Translation. I'm very weak and lazy to do even the smallest devotion service. And when I hear of the peerless and difficult to perform services performed by the great devotees in ancient times, my heart burns with despair. He's not envious, but he says, how unfortunate. But then he's feeling fortunate. Oh Lord, O killer of Aghasura, when I hear that your waves of mercy splash everyone from the demigod Brahma down to the most insignificant creature, then my heart becomes sprinkled with a holy drop of hope. The world's going to end. And you never know when the world's going to end, right? But bring a child and you'll find out. So Rupa Goswami, it's humility, but he's referring to the mercy that Krishna showed in killing of Aghasura. He showed mercy. We'll hear as we go forward. So, in the course of chapter 12, the many things happened, many things happened, many things happened. And the final section, there you see Krishna holding up his arm, not wanting the cowherd boys. He didn't instruct them or call to them. He just was wanting them to not enter Aghasura's mouth. But they went inside Aghasura's mouth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, was situated as Antaryami, the Super Soul, in the core of everyone's heart. Heard the boys talking amongst themselves about the artificial python. They saw this giant thing. I mean, giant, his upper jaw was touching the clouds. It's pretty big. And his body was miles long. And so they were, what's this? Maybe it's a demon wanting to kill us. And maybe it's just a plaything somewhere off in the forest of Vrindavan meant for us to enjoy. But whatever it may be, Krishna will deal with this guy if it's a demon wanting to kill us, like he dealt with Baka. So let's go. Because the whole first half, 2/3 of chapter 12 is the frolicsome, playful activities, the cowherd boys. And playing this, that, and they're having a great time. And they're kind of careless of anything other than playing. They don't have to hurt the calves because the calves just tag along. They want to be with the cowherd boys of Krishna. So they're not hurting the calves. They're playing. And when they see this thing, python, is it this or that? But they're ready to enter. Next verse. Unknown to them, it was actually Aghasura, a demon who had appeared as a python. Krishna, knowing this, wanted to forbid his associates to enter the demon's mouth. But there they go, entering the demon's mouth, gesturing to Krishna and playfully entering into the demon's mouth. So now comes commentary. Knowing it was not only a python, but a Rakshasa named Agha, since he was in everyone's heart as Paramatma, was the inspiration for all things, and was endowed with all powers, Bhagavan, he wanted to prevent them, and he doesn't have to lift a pinky, whatever, and then he can lift a pinky, but doesn't have to, because everything happens by his energies. Now that the same personality, the same commentator, Jiva Goswami, to explain this mystery, in Priti Sandarbha, he discusses by comparing what happened with Krishna to what happened with Ramachandra, what happened with Ramachandra with Krishna. It's a situation where the omniscient Supreme became bewildered. And against his own desire, things were happening, which is not normal. It's Yogamaya. Oh. When Ramachandra entered the forest and Lakshmana was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravana, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshmana as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. Remember that there's the storyline, remember those 4 things? And then there's tattva, and there's dharma, and then ultimately there's rasa. So there's a dharmic principle that he wanted to teach. Too much attachment, you're going to have a problem. Too much attached. Though internally, Rama was controlled by prema, externally he announced the results for persons who freely associate with women by performing actions of indifference. So this is Jiva Goswami helping his reader to understand how Krishna could be bewildered. In manifesting pastimes, where he is absorbed in human actions with intense prema for his devotees, sometimes the Lord shows bewilderment contrary to his omniscience. Got it? Pearl, you want to see what's on the screen? You're going to have to turn your seat so you can see what's on the screen. Unless you got eyes in the back of your head. Okay. Now I'm happy. Thank you. So there's the human and the divine. The Lila, part of the sweetness, part of the sweetness of Ram's Lila and Krishna's Lila is the humanness, with lessons and with rasa and with tattva and all those nice things. But he appears to be human-like, as if. But the internal is prema, and so he, the personality of God, is experiencing a happiness in bewilderment. And it's his own Lila Shakti that arranges. It's profound. It's puzzling. But that's our class this morning. But that's a good quality. It is not a fault, since this bewilderment, bestows happiness of priti to the wise. For his bewilderment supports the sweetness of his pastimes. He accepts this bewilderment by his will. So Lila Shakti is not superseding Krishna, but facilitating. That same word, facilitating. That Krishna is having an emotion that is very sweet. And it's exhibiting a human-like, but it's a transcendental, but it's human, though it appears to be human-like, that one gets bewildered. But it's the happiness of his love. We'll hear as we go further. In the meantime, while Krishna was considering how to stop them, all the cowherd boys entered the mouth of the demon. The demon, however, did not swallow them, for he was thinking of his own relatives who had been killed by Krishna and was just waiting for Krishna to enter his mouth. His own relatives, there's a relationship between two of the demons that were already killed and Aghasura. He had a brother and a sister, and they were all buddies with Kamsa. The first, Putana. The second was Baka. And Agha was their elder brother. So his younger brother, younger sister were killed by Krishna. So he didn't swallow the cowherd boys because he wanted to swallow Krishna. And it's a detail, but it's a nice detail. All three of them, they were human-like in their form before their mystical power permitted them to shape change into a duck or a python. But they're spirit souls with a human body with mystic powers, buddies with Kamsa. So his motivation was to kill Krishna, but it was also revenge because his brother and sister were killed. So he was waiting. He didn't swallow the cowherd boys. Now, the commentators, particularly this is now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you've been hearing this weekend about our Garuda's appreciation and my appreciation for Vishwanath. He's fantastic. So he's juxtaposing, Krishna had a desire, this Satya Sankalpa Shakti, and then the cowherd boys had their desire. The cowherd boys win, because Krishna subordinates himself to the desire of his devotees. That's a lesson that Vishwanath points out. Just as he desired and decided to stop them, the boys along with the calves entered the snake's mouth. Does this mean that Krishna's Satya Sankalpa Shakti, through which his every wish is fulfilled, didn't work? but juxtaposed as the cowherd boy's desire from the verses. If we go into the serpent's mouth, will he swallow us? If he swallows us, our friend will kill him as he killed Baka. So Krishna had a desire, cowherd boys had a desire, cowherd boys win. Because Krishna is subordinate. Of the two desires, the desire of the devotee prevails. Why? Vishwanath's comment. The Lord is controlled by his devotee. This is the arrangement by the ever-watchful Lila Shakti of the Lord, which is to increase the sweetness of the pastimes and destroy all contradictions. So the apparent contradiction is destroyed by Lila Shakti. And if one doesn't have a sense of Lila Shakti, then one gets destroyed. Or you can't sort it out. So this is the rasa top of the mountain. And if you don't understand something, look at it through that lens. So here we go. There's the cowherd boys marching into the mouth of Aghasura demon. And because the cowherd boys didn't know anyone or anything but Krishna as their Lord, and now they're gone out of his hand and were helpless, having entered like straws into the fire of the abdomen of Aghasura, who was death personified. So now Krishna is pondering. First he was bewildered. Now he's getting a chance to sort it out. It was intolerable for Krishna to be separated from his friends and the cowherd boys. As they were separated from him, he was feeling separated from them. They're not separated, but he was feeling a transcendental feeling of separation. Therefore, again, this as if, seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, it's right in the verse, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure what to do. He was enjoying being unsure what to do. He who was omniscient. All glories to Lila Shakti. Seeing the boys escape from his hand, Krishna was astonished at the actions of his Lila Shakti, Vishwanath. What was the cause of astonishment? Well, it is not possible for these cowherd boys to have prarabdha karma. And besides, the Supersoul does not give them the tendency for karma. Double checkmate. Because the Supersoul is my expansion, Lila Shakti does not do anything unfavorable to me. Therefore, Lila Shakti has made this seemingly unfavorable arrangement with the desire to put me, full of prema, into the compassionate mood, karuna rasa. Got it? Secondary rasas arise when there's some primary rasa, Krishna and his cowherd boy friends, transcendental relationship seems to be something, and Lila Shakti arranged for the something, and now he's feeling this secondary rasa, compassion. They're feeling something when they're in the mouth of Aghasura. They can't see Krishna, and Krishna can't see them. And he knows they're in a difficult situation. How astonishing is her control over me, the form of all rasas, the king of all leelas, Lila Purushottama. He was enjoying being astonished and being compassionate. So there's another secondary astonishment and compassion, like spiked, increased significantly. So now he's stepping back, considering the situation. Now, what was to be done? How could both the killing of the demon and saving the devotees be performed simultaneously? So he's contemplating. And then he It's not like Super Soul gave him the intelligence what to do, because he's the source of Super Soul. But the Yogamaya curtain pulled back, and then he knew what to do. Krishna, being unlimitedly potent, decided to wait for an intelligent means by which he could simultaneously save the boys and kill the demon. Isn't that nice? Isn't it a lesson? Supposing you're faced with a situation you don't know what to do. I mean, if you're driving in a car and the car is a head-on collision, you got to do something. But if it's not, an urgent situation, you can pause. Krishna saw the perfect way, a sheshadrik, to enjoy pastimes and liberate the demon, to protect the devotees, and destroy the rascals. Sounds like Prabhupada's language, rascals. He saw the unlimited calves and boys, but they're in the mouth, but he could see them. Then he entered the snake because he was overcome with affection. He's ruled by prema. Rasa is at the top. Seeing their condition, the karuna rasa, affection. He is called Hari because he would remove their suffering and attract their minds. Nice, huh? Krishna's pastimes. Here is Narada to Gopakumar. We're stepping aside from the Srimad Bhagavatam, going to Brihat Bhagavatamrita. I worship the pastimes he, Krishna, performed in the early mornings, Narada to Gopakumar. He performed in the early mornings when he entered the Vrindavan forest with his calves and friends. Most relishable pastimes, such as entering the mouth of the great serpent, after pondering in various ways. Exactly. Next verse. When Krishna entered the mouth of Aghasura, the demigod, see those guys up on the top? Oh no! The demigods hidden behind the clouds exclaimed, alas, alas! But the friends of Aghasura, like Kamsa and other demons, were jubilant. Now the demigods were watching from above, and somehow maybe somebody sent a text message or something to Kamsa. When Krishna heard the demigods crying, he immediately enlarged himself within the demon's throat just to save himself and the coward boys, because he closed his mouth. Now, many paintings you'll see that at the top of the Aghasura's head, there's a hole in the top of his head. And then there's coward boys jumping out of it, some calves jumping out of the hole in his head. That's because when Krishna got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, he was suffocated, and the soul of Aghasura popped out from the soft spot in the roof of his head, and he became dead. Another nice painting. Of course, he was bigger than this painting shows, but it's still a nice beachy Sharma painting. Here's a nice BBT painting. Now, when Krishna enlarged himself and popped out of the soul of Aghasura popped out of the top of his head, the coward boys went marching out of the Aghasura's mouth. And what happens? They just say, like with Putana, they chopped up the body of Putana and burned the body of Putana. It smelled like fragrant incense. This serpent stayed there for a long time. Usually, a big body like that's going to stink, but it didn't stink. It didn't rot. But, it became a place for the cowherd boys. Well, I remember when Krishna did this. But going back to the very beginning of this chapter, two things are important in the very, very beginning. Every day before the Krishna and the cowherd boys would go out to herd the calves, or later the cows, Mother Yasoda would feed them. She would feed Krishna, and do all kinds of this long description. She made him take his bath and put on his tilak, and put on his garments, and put on his jewels and ornaments, and straighten out this and straighten out that, and have his lunch. And Krishna would say, "Mother, it's time to go." And then she'd come and do another thing and do another thing, and Krishna would smile and let her do her motherly thing. "Mother, it's time to go. The cowherd boys are waiting, time to go." And then when Krishna left, she was feeling separation from Krishna. But he had to go. And he did his pastime. So feeding Krishna was an everyday thing, but one particular morning, he requested Mother Yasoda, "I'm going to pack breakfast." And she wanted to feed him, and he wanted her to pack breakfast. So he didn't have breakfast yet. And another thing is that Balaram wasn't there. There's different explanations. His birthday, there was a festival, and Nanda Maharaj wanted him to attend the festival, so he did what his Nanda Maharaj wanted. But it was Krishna's Yogamaya, or Krishna's Lila Shakti, that Balaram wouldn't be there. Because how can you have this scene when Balaram's there? So Balaram wasn't there. And then from the sky, the demigods saw this, and one of the demigods that saw this was Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma saw the whole scene, and now here's the cowherd boys, time for breakfast. After the demons killed, that's one of the things they would do, time for lunch. But they hadn't even had breakfast yet, so now they're sitting around having breakfast. And Brahma is zooming around up in the sky on his swan carrier, wondering, wow, I wonder, what's the limit? Is there a limit? I wonder what is the limit to Krishna's powers. Then he got a bad idea. Let me test my powers against Krishna's powers and see what he does. That was a big mistake. He interrupted Krishna's pastimes. That's a no-no. That's an offense. And he's challenging Krishna's powers with his powers. Another no-no. So he's going to get spanked. Going to get some reprimand for that. But the reprimand, the way that Krishna gave the reprimand was just like fantastic. So this is the revised Eastern Europe repainting of Krishna book. And Brahma's soaring around looking at the scene. And so he decides, now that same Brahma wanted to show some of his own power and see the power of Krishna, who was engaged in his childhood pastime, playing as if with ordinary cowherd boys. Therefore, in Krishna's absence, Brahma took all the boys and calves to another place. Thus, he became entangled. For in the very near future, he would see how powerful Krishna was. And there's no limit, right, to the power of Krishna. So the scene goes like this. They're sitting around having their breakfast, and the calves started wandering, grazing. And then all of a sudden, one of the cowherd boys recognized the calves are missing. So Krishna said, "Don't worry. You finish your breakfast, I'll go find the calves." So Krishna went to look for the calves. While Krishna went to look for the calves, Brahma had taken the calves and put them in a cave. And when Krishna was away, Krishna came and kidnapped the cowherd boys, put them in a cave, and sealed the cave with a big rock. There's the cave with the cowherd boys and the calves. And then he went back to the scene of the crime, wondering what's Krishna going to do? Is he going to cry? But when he came back, there was the calves and cowherd boys. You know the story. And he was like, what? I just put them in a cave. So he went back and looked in the cave, and there they were in the cave. He went back, and there they were. All the cowherd boys and the calves having breakfast. And there's a lot of cowherd boys and a lot of calves. See the calves in the background of the painting, up on the hill? And there's Lord Brahma up above, checking out the scene. So, Krishna wanted to, you want to see the limit of my potency, so he manifested for each one of the cowherd boys and each one of the calves a four-armed form of Narayan. That's a lot of Narayans. And according to the Bhagavatam, all these Vishnu Murtis were surrounded by the opulences, headed by Anima Siddhi, mystic powers. Mystic powers have names, headed by Aja. 24 elements personified of the material creation, headed by the Mahatattva. So rather than going through the 24 elements headed by Mahatattva, that's 24 elements. And so each one of these forms of Narayan has each one of these things. Then Brahma saw that Kala, Swabhava, Samskara, Kama, Karma, and the Gunas, their own independence being completely subordinate to the potency of Krishna, had taken forms. Sri Rupa? Where does she go? She went up.
She had some service.
Okay. Well, energies have forms. That's the point. And we're worshipping those Vishnu Murtis. So worshipping, they were all singing Vedic hymns, just like we chanted Sri Brahma Samhita together. So it was a big cacophony of sound. Big, tumultuous sound. All these different entities surrounding each one of the forms of Narayana, offering prayers. It was a concert. Very, very astonishing. And then what happened? They all just, poof, they just disappeared. And there was Krishna with his right hand eating and his left hand holding some yogurt and fruit. Breakfast, right? The phrase is used, Nija Mahi Mani. Mani, jewel, Mahi, Mani. Nija, his own glory was manifest. So this is where Brahma came before Krishna, and so there's the cowherd boys, and each of the cowherd boys are manifesting forms of Narayan, and then poof, they all disappeared. Then Brahma offered his prayers. But the pastime isn't over yet. There's another chapter where when they finished their breakfast, they finished the activities for the rest of the day, the cowherd boys went back home, the calves went back home, and the cowherd boys that were no longer the cowherd boys because the cowherd boys were in a cave, it was Krishna with all of the Vishnu Murti forms or Narayana forms and all the energies and all of those things. And they went back to be with their mothers. And it went on like that for a whole year. There's like detailed descriptions of a child that's around 4 to 5 years of age, and a whole year passes, their body gets bigger. So the bodies that Krishna had manifested in the likeness of each cowherd boy got bigger. But it was Krishna. And the mothers couldn't tell the difference between their son and the Krishna son. And what mother isn't going to tell the difference? It's not my son. He may look like him, sound like him, but he's not my son. But they couldn't tell. Not only they couldn't tell, this is Yogamaya or Lila Shakti, even Balaram, the omniscient Balaram, was influenced by Lila Shakti in such a way he didn't recognize for a whole year. And then towards the end of the year, the curtain of Yogamaya was pulled back so he could start to see, oh, this is what's going on. Because here's a scene where one day the calves were at the bottom of Govardhan Hill and the cows were at the top of Govardhan Hill, and the cows, seeing their calves, started running down Govardhan Hill. You ever see a cow run? It's really funny. I mean, they run sometimes. Generally, they just mosey around here and there, munching on grass. But the cows were running down the hill. The cowherd men, with their sticks raised, come on back, and the cows wouldn't stop. So the scene, the painting, nice BBT painting, there's Balaram seeing the scene. When the cowherd men got to the bottom, they completely forgot about the cows. And they just saw their sons, and they embraced their sons. And the calves, as soon as they saw the cows saw the calves. The cows wanted Krishna as their calf. The parents wanted Krishna as their son, so Krishna became their son, or the calf. And then Balaram, oh, okay, I get it. And then the pastime ends with the cowherd boys were discovered within the cave, but they had forgotten everything, Yogamaya or Lila Shakti. A whole year passed, they must have been hungry. They weren't hungry, they didn't remember anything, and they got together with their parents, they got together with Krishna, and it was like nothing happened. Amnesia. Not in this case, it's not just super soul, it's Krishna's Lila Shakti. But it's fascinating. Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, because that's our theme, is Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan are just eye-opening, amazing, inconceivable, very sweet, hard to understand unless you look at the pastime through his potencies and his leelas. He's just performing leelas, that whitewashing. Oh, it's just a leela. Oh, it's just Yogamaya. But it's not whitewash, that's what's going on, that's the reality. So, what I'd like to do right now is shift to the initiation. And the bridge from what we just did in the initiation is the principle of Guru Tattva. Because, as I said towards the very beginning, there's the narration of the story, the storyline. And then there's Dharma, there's Tattva, and there's Rasa. So one of the Tattvas in not only Krishna's pastime, but anything Puranic, there's the Tattva, Guru Tattva. And Guru Tattva is a not easy to understand Tattva. It is said Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, there are two tattvas that are very difficult to understand. Shiva tattva and Guru tattva. And you can say this and that about both, and it's like, that's it. But it's complex. So the complexity of Guru tattva is that the spiritual master is representing the personality of Godhead, and it's not, the soul is like a special soul among souls, it's just they have some authorization from the Supreme to represent him, without all what the credentials are to have that service. In one sense, all of us, as representatives of the personality of Godhead, just by rendering devotional service, we can speak about Krishna. Anyway, without all those details, the process of initiation, which is not so easy to understand because the Guru Tattva is not so easy to understand, is establishing, what's before and what's after. What happens at the time of initiation that makes it so special? It's like someone gets touched with a magic wand and all of a sudden something. But it's established, it's a formality the formality is preceded by preparing oneself, but the formality is making the official connection between the living entity and the Supreme. It's Yogamaya. The energy of the Supreme making a connection between a soul who is eternally part and parcel but forgetful. At least the beginning of the formality of acceptance by the personality of Godhead of the soul, and the submission of the soul unto the personality of Godhead and formalizing it. And then there's the via medium, the Guru Tattva principle, represented by Guru. And so that's what's going on in this initiation ceremony, and there's going to be, because of the time, now 9:30, generally something that I like is when someone's going to be initiated, somebody that knows the devotee or devotees going to be initiated, someone says something because they know the devotee. And I know Parul for how many? Over 20 years. Parul, how long have we known each other? You probably have an idea. Over 20 years, right?
I'm here since 2011.
Since when?
2011.
2011. Okay. Long-standing relationship. And, here she is, getting an initiation. And her involvement has not only, but largely been at 26 2nd Avenue, from New York. And she has a very nice relationship with Atmanivedana and Subhangada, husband-wife couple. Subhangada administered her ISKCON disciple course curriculum. She's an authorized representative of that function. And Atmanivedana's, rah, go, let's go. So I received her letter of recommendation from him. And they couldn't be here. They wanted to, but so Shasha has something written by both of them, and you know her as well, but you're going to read something that they've written. Can you have a microphone?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. So I got an honor to introduce Parul Mataji to all of you. I know there are a few devotees from New York City here, so they know Parul well. But also for the benefit of everyone else, I will read a few facts about Parul. So she's 71 years old. She's a registered nurse. She graduated from Khulna Government Girls College in Bangladesh in 1974. She got a diploma in midwifery in 1980 and became a registered nurse back in 1997. Then she moved also to the US and she got a New York CNA certification from the Manhattan Institute in 2012. She worked in a few places, World Vision of Dhaka in Bangladesh, where she was a public health nurse and supervisor. Then she worked in CARE in Dhaka, where she was a program officer in HIV prevention program. Then she worked as a nursing supervisor at the Apollo Hospital in Dhaka. And then more recently, for 9 years, from 2013 to 2022, she worked at the Rikers Island in New York. Some of you know it's the largest jail in New York City. So like very dangerous, but there she rendered direct care and administered medication and treatment to inmates. So she has a son who is an engineer and works for Ministry of Defense in New Delhi, India. So we won't tell you details of what he is working on, or we will get in troubles. So her husband passed away, and she is now retired and spends time between Calcutta, where she has a house, and New York. So in terms of devotional life, she came with a friend to Saturday program at 26 2nd Avenue in New York back in 2016 and stayed with us since then. Then she started chanting 16 rounds in 2018, and she also cooks delicious Bengali prasadam for our weekly Saturday program at 26 2nd Avenue, and like her pakoras are the best. That's my personal experience. So she regularly reads Srila Prabhupada books and asks intelligent questions during the class.
I don't need that. He has a nice accent, huh? Shasha. Quite a resume. How old are you now? 71 only.
Very young.
Okay. So have you attended initiation ceremonies before? Do you know the procedure?
I attended once here.
Once here. Okay, the procedure goes like this. Make a space for her in front of Prabhupada's Vyasasana, hoping for the Vyasasana, pay her obeisances before Prabhupada. While she's doing that, I want to make a little comment. Is Priti Lakshana here? She disappeared also. She's outside. She's taking care of some service because that's what she does. I just want to appreciate Priti Lakshana in her absence, because she would like cringe. Her 3 daughters have been very fortunate to have Priti Lakshana as their mother. Each of them have such a nice mood of service. Shamasaki, you've all had some experience with what she's like. And I was noticing, please come forward. Come forward and pay obeisances over here. With your side to the deities, and you face here. And of all the persons who would be the one to put on her garland and change her neck beads, and it was Shri-Rupa. And I had a little communication with Sundari, Radha. And she was like, she couldn't come. She wanted to come, but she couldn't come because her sister-in-law just had a baby, and so the mother-in-law was with the daughter-in-law with the new baby, and the father is not well, so she's staying back to cook for the father, but wanting to be here, but being so service-minded. The basis and we'll go forward. So just how fortunate to have Priti Lakshmi as a mother. And just stay, stop, come back, just sit down. Just right there. You're doing fine, just sit. Because I'm going to give you your beads and your name. You ready for your beads and your name? You ready? Are you sure? Okay, so the next procedure is you're going to take 3 vows. The first one is you say, what the answer is. How many rounds you'll chant on your beads, as you've been doing. How many rounds minimum will you chant? 16 minimum. More is fine too.
Yes.
And the 4 rules that you'll follow?
No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication.
Okay, very good. And final, as you've been doing, you'll continue for the balance of your robust 71-year and counting life. You'll continue following Prabhupada's teachings carefully as much as you can. Good. Initiated name is Palika Das. Take your beat back, pay obeisances, and go sit down. Okay. With the meaning of the name, Palika is the name of Radharani's gopis. And Pali, you go sit down. Pali is a name found in the first verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami's epic. Pali is mentioned, and she's Palika means like diminutive, so she's like a little ruler. Pali means like Palana is to rule. Pali is the feminine of Pala, and Palika is a little ruler. But on behalf of Srimati Radharani, Palika is one of Radharani's favorite gopis, and Rupa Goswami chose her name to be in the very first verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Palika. So we're ready for explain to her what to do with the sesame seeds.
Namo Om Vishnupadaya Vishnavestaya Bhutale Srimate Yogamaya Swamin Namine Swaha
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshura-militam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha 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 Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Gadamayam Dati Svapadantikam Svaha 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 Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Bhagana Raganatam Anvitam Tam Sajivam Saditam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Swaha 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastime of Aghasura Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine Swaha 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadhya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Swaha 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 Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipranambara Sambodhe Padamo Jayate Namaha Svaha 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 Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchit Ananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupa Nuga Varayate Svaha 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 Kauravir Bhava Bhumestvam Nirdishta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Svaha 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 Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Svaha Svaha Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Krishe Namaha Saha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namani Bhakta Shaktikam Swaha 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 Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Swaha 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 Jayatam Suratanu Pangor Mama Manda Matir Gati Sarvasvapadam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano Swaha 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 Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadramadaha Srimad Radnagaram Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Pastime Smaran Sevyamano Smarami Swaha 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 Sriman Rasarasarambhi Bhangshi Bhattas Tatastitaha Harshan Venus Vanayar Gopir Gopinatha Shri Estunaha Swaha 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 Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Swaha 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 Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Swaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Swaha Swaha Swaha. Okay, one more mantra. You have to do this one standing up. There's a banana on your plate. Pick the banana up. And as you place grains, now you're going to place the banana after the reciting of this mantra. Got a special name, Purnahoti. So, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hittaya Cha Hittaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Swaha
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama